Hey guys, it's Testimony Tuesday. I'm really late, but it's been a very long day. It's been a very busy day, and I couldn't really think of what I was going to say. In fact, I couldn't really think of what I was going to do for the podcast episode tomorrow either. So it was just a lot going on today, and I wasn't even sure I was going to get around to the Testimony Tuesday, but I got like this second wind and a lot of energy here at 10 o'clock at night. So I figured I would record a Testimony Tuesday. So, my testimony for today is about how, number one, God kind of reveals things to you in pieces. And two, he does things for your benefit without you even knowing. And this testimony is specifically in relation to my hair. Um, if you've only known me for a short while, you've always known me to have curly hair, my natural hair. But if you had met me when I was a child, you would have known me with straight hair because, like most black women, I got relaxers up until 2010. And I had no idea what a relaxer actually was. The first time I got a relaxer, the whole conversation was about making my hair easier to manage. My mom was not good at doing hair. It was a struggle. I got most of my spankings over getting my hair done. I was a tomboy. I did not want to sit in the chair to get my hair done. And it was a big deal and a big problem, and it took a long time. And, eventually my mom was like, we're going to get you a relaxer. My aunts were like, you should get her a relaxer. And the general consensus was, you should get a relaxer. And, my young self, the whole thing was like, it'll make your hair easier to manage. It wasn't like, oh, I want straight hair or any of this. None of that was even part of the conversation. It was just, you won't have to sit in the chair so long. It won't hurt when they detangle it, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, cool, let's go do this, right? All of the adults are saying this is what we should do to my hair. So I started getting relaxers. I'm not even sure how old I was, but I started getting them. At that point, I was getting the kitty perm or whatever. And I didn't really get them that often. I got them pretty much like for picture day. And then I would get one during like winter break and then one maybe during like spring break. So probably about like 3 times a year. Not really, the usual like every 8 weeks or whatever most people do. I had it very much spread out. Um, but I really didn't understand what was happening to my hair. And I was probably in college when the natural hair movement kind of, I guess, came to my attention. I don't want to say took off because I feel like it was a thing for a long time. It's just YouTube kind of made it explode in circles that it wasn't already being publicized in. But that's kind of when I started seeing girls go natural that were my age and within my circle. And at the time, I really just wanted to mimic a curly hairstyle that I saw on a celebrity on TV. I had no real intention of stopping getting a relax. Like, I still didn't understand what was happening. I still had never really seen my own hair. I think the first time I saw my hair curly was in college sometime. My hair was wet and it was like, oh, it's actually kind of curly. I've never seen my hair look like that. I didn't know my hair was curly. And so I ended up, forgetting to draw. Like, it's a long story. We don't have time for that. But basically, I accidentally found out that I could just not do anything to my hair and it would be curly. And I was like, how come nobody told me this? I've been trying to have curly hair my whole life and I was born with curly hair. Look at that. So I ended up watching YouTube videos and finding out like how to care for my hair being curly. And then that's kind of when I came along the lines of understanding like, oh, the relaxer is what's damaging your curls. Stop relaxing your hair. And so I just never got another relaxer and I just let it be what it is. And it's interesting because, like I said, I didn't really understand the whole process. I wanted curly hair. I had curly hair, but I didn't know I had curly hair. I didn't understand what I was putting onto my head. For those of the people viewing this that are not familiar with relaxers, um, it's basically chemicals. It's basically putting chemicals on your head, which is not an encouraging thing. Like, you should not do that. That's not a good idea. So essentially, studies have found that there is a link between the chemicals in the relaxers that we put on our head and fibroids. And so I didn't know this until after I had stopped relaxing my hair. But there is a higher occurrence of fibroids in Black women because of our use of chemical relaxers in our hair. And I ended up going to the doctor in my mid 20s. So this is about 3 or 4 years post relaxer. And I have fibroids. What do you know, right? The doctor wasn't shocked because the doctor had seen this before. Luckily, mine aren't problematic, but they are there. And it's interesting because it makes me wonder. I guess this is where the testimony comes in, is that, God was working, number one, in my parents, that they weren't giving me relaxers like every, 2 months or whatever the prescribed time is. I am a firm believer that everybody's body functions differently. It functions according to you. So there are certain things that you can handle that I can't. There are things I can handle that you can't. You can see this with alcohol consumption. There are people who go out and they can drink and drink and drink and they're still sober, and you may take a sip and be completely wasted. That's why we have terms like lightweight, right? Everyone's body is processing the alcohol differently. The same thing is true about sicknesses, about, the foods that you consume, whatever, addictions, things like that. They're all based on how your body reacts to things. And so one person might be able to get relaxers every 2 months and they may never develop fibroids. Someone else might get one relaxer one time and end up with fibroids. I don't really know. I don't know about the possibility of that. But I'm just using general examples to say that God must have known that if I got them using relaxers less frequently than the average person, and even though I had stopped, I don't know if they were there beforehand because I never looked for them. If I had been using it as prescribed, I probably would have massive fibroids or massive issues because of that. And then it's interesting that God sent me this kind of desire to stop, even though I didn't understand that that was good for my health. Like, it was, I don't want to say it was vain, but it was more for cosmetic reasons. I wanted to have curly hair and it was cheaper. And so it wasn't really like I was thinking about my own health or my own, well-being. It was just like, bruh, these relaxers is expensive and I want curly hair and I can do this without paying people. Why am I doing this? And so I just think it's a beautiful thing that God can put things in our mind and in our heart without revealing the full purpose, and then bring it full scale until you come in and you're just like, so this whole time I was basically destroying my insides and I did not know it. Good to know. Good to know. So I'm just really thankful today, as I have, taken out my faux locks and returned back to my curly hair. God works in mysterious ways, and there's always a journey behind the journey. So there may be something that God is motivating you to do as we speak, and there may be a underlying purpose, a hidden message that he's yet to reveal to you. And when you see it, you're going to be like, he had my back from the beginning. So that is my testimony for today. Hope you guys had a great day. You can still leave a message, even though it'll probably be Wednesday when you see this. But, good night.